Welcome to Gutter Trash, episode 206, The Raid. My name is Eric.
And I'm Jason.
How's it going?
It's going well.
That's good to hear, that's good to hear.
What's up, brother?
Oh, nothing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you feel like beating up some guys?
I totally do.
Man, is there a magic tournament happening in this town right now? Because that would be perfect. Because think about it. Like, neither one of us are action heroes by any stretch of the means. But still, think of us, like, as compared to magic guys. We are like Steven Seagal and Chuck Norris compared to the magic guys.
Well, wow, because I already know which of us is which. You're Chuck Norris because you're blonde and have a beard.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm Steven Seagal because I have dark hair and I'm fat.
And you recently got rid of your ponytail. Oh, awesome.
So, we're going to jump right into this, I guess.
Yeah, I would imagine.
The Raid.
Yeah.
I've already talked about this movie at length on this show in previous episodes.
Now, you've seen it a few times, right?
This is now my third time of seeing this.
Okay.
I saw it in the theater when it played here in Dayton at the Neon. I think this was back in May, maybe? And then I bought it like the week that it came out on Blu-ray and watched it like a week after that or so. And then here today.
Yeah. Wow. Seeing it in the theater, I bet, was awesome.
It was pretty amazing. So I think it's just safe to go ahead and say that I fucking love this movie.
Right.
I fucking love it. This may be probably my new favorite movie. Because I don't think even whatever was my favorite movie, I don't think I've even seen that 3 times.
Wow, okay, you mean like...
In the span of a year.
You mean like your favorite new movie? Or like your new favorite movie?
My new favorite movie.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know how sometimes you get a new record and you're like, oh, this is my jam right now.
Yeah.
But this isn't your jam. This is, like, on your list as your favorite?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, because you know, my previous favorite movie was Apocalypse Now. And I still love it. But I don't think I've ever seen that more than 5 times total.
Right.
And I've seen this now 3 times in 6 months.
Yeah. And you feel like you're on the way to watch it a few more times.
I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
Hell, the previous 2 times, you know, I wanted to watch it almost immediately as soon as it was done. And there is no difference now.
Wow. So yeah, Apocalypse Now in this, I see some similarities as far as like tone. It's kind of dark and
it can be dark, yeah.
Kind of makes you feel bad in places.
Right. Well, I mean, you know,
I don't mean like in areas of your body. I mean like in spots of the film. Yeah.
But I mean, as far as like list ranking goes, like I don't put much thought into like, you know, how I'm ranking movies and
right. Like they're all on. These are your top 5 in no special order. That sort of thing.
But Apocalypse Now was always at the top,
right?
And then what was always directly underneath Apocalypse Now was Evil Dead 2. So
those are slightly different,
right? Yeah. So you know, I'm nothing if not diverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's high praise. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's near the top of my list as it is yours, but
right.
Yeah. Wow. As far as like, I just wish there would have been like a little more action. I think that's what's keeping it out on my top list. There's just like all those scenes where it's just like, oh my god, half an hour of nothing happening.
Oh, I hurt right now. That went right through my nose.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's my fault for thinking it was safe to take a drink.
No, it like, yeah, out of the gate, it's just like action.
Yeah, I mean, there is setup. It takes about 15, 20 minutes for it to get rolling. But even that 15, 20 minutes is like super tense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, even the exposition is like, 30 armed guys in a tight space giving you exposition. You're just like, oh, something bad's gonna happen. Quit talking. So yeah, it's not ever boring.
No. Yeah, because every time people like stop and take a break to just sort of breathe or deliver some plot line, it's always, something horrible is just about to explode right in front of us.
Right.
At any given moment.
And you can feel it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like I've been watching Walking Dead season 2 very recently to try to catch up.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of thing where it's like, I really like the story and I really like the characters and the acting, but when I watch that show, I don't enjoy it like I watch, like I enjoy other shows that I watch.
Right.
Because there's this tension.
Feeling of dread.
Yeah. And I don't mean just because like I'm scared of zombies. I mean just the entire thing has like everything is so like explosive and like it just feels like it's gonna fall apart and yeah, like there was a lot of that in this movie where I just kind of felt like oh no.
I just last weekend watched the entire second season of The Walking Dead. And I was talking to our friend Joe about it on Wednesday. And I think you and I have a different perspective on that movie because we have been watching it in chunks.
Oh, The Walking Dead, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the series. And yeah, like when I watch that show, because I can't avoid everything online, and even though as much as I try to avoid spoilers for that show in particular.
Right.
Everybody who watches it, week after week live, as it comes on, it's just like, okay, I could see why a lot of those people hate it.
Yeah. Because they're like, oh, I have to wait another week.
Well, not that, but just because it's kind of slow.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of spoilers for The Walking Dead, season 2, like the first 8 episodes or so. Like, they're all looking for the little girl that gets lost.
Right.
And, that takes, 8 episodes to wrap up. And week after week, it's just like, come on.
Right.
Find this little fucking girl.
Yeah, either have her be dead.
Right.
Something, yeah.
But then, you and I are watching it, in a span of, 2 days. Or maybe 1, depending on which of us it is. It's like, okay, this is all happening, and it's much more tense and much more intense.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So, but that's just a total digression.
No, I agree with that.
But the fucking raid. So this is an Indonesian movie, made by an Englishman, named Gareth Evans. He, with not the entire same cast, but definitely with 2 of the same guys, made a movie prior to this one called Merantau. And it's the main character from this movie, and the tiny little bad guy from this movie.
Oh yeah.
They were in that one. As soon as I watched this movie, I was like, what else have these guys done,
Yeah.
And found that movie and rented it immediately. And it's definitely not as good as this I mean, it's all right. But it's like they made that movie, and it's just sort of like your typical action movie where, there's a plot, and then they kind of string some things together to eventually lead you to an action moment, and then finally, like, the big showdown at the end.
Right.
Very, very standard.
Formulaic.
Right. And so it's like they made that movie and like, hey, we did a really good job. Hey, next time, let's not have any plot. And let's just string action scene to action scene to action scene. And I kind of feel like that's what this one is a little bit. And I totally don't mean that in a bad way.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's enough plot that, like, it gives you something.
Right.
Like, as far as, like, perspective and characterization, and some of the characters change as the movie goes, which,
Right.
That's awesome.
Right.
But, yeah, wow. The action is incredible.
But, yeah, so yeah, the two guys, the main guy and the little bad guy, I think they choreographed like the entire movie, and then like they did the same with the previous movie, Marital. So like basically all three of them, like Gareth Evans and those two guys whose names I don't know, nor if I knew them would be able to pronounce, because they're Indonesian. But they yeah, they all worked on these movies to like write out the plot and like find out like the best fight choreography.
Right.
And so I must say that those two guys are fucking amazing.
Yeah. That little long-haired villain in this movie.
His character's name is Mad Dog.
Mad Dog. Yeah. He is awesome.
Oh hell yeah! He's like a tiny little furious Kirk Hammett.
He kind of has a an Indonesian Kirk Hammett thing going. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I mean, like, I've never been a huge Kung Fu movie fan, and it's not like I watch them and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. It's just, like, I don't think I'd ever seen a Kung Fu movie until I was a teenager. Like, I never saw any when I was a kid. And, I watched a few when I was a teen, in my late teens, and I just never really, like, got into it as a genre,
Right.
So
I've never been a huge fan either.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I hate them or anything like that. It's just that I never sit down to like want to watch one. Yeah.
But yeah, this has some amazing, like, I guess you would even say kung fu on some of it. I mean, there's a lot of kicking, a lot of flipping, a lot of jumping.
It's the fighting style used in this movie is, and I just looked it up and now I can't remember it. I think it's like Pencak Silat or something like that. That's the name of it, Pencak Silat.
I bet Jeremy Anderson would know if he's listening.
Yeah. Hopefully he's seen this movie by now.
Yeah. If not, he needs to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because Jeremy. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But Jeremy is like, he knows his kung fu movies,
right.
So that guy could probably recommend a good 3 dozen that we should watch.
Right. And like I was listening to a podcast once, and like it was a guy who just loves kung fu movies, and his whole thing though was that this is not a kung fu movie,
right?
And I can see that,
because
the first half hour is just all gunplay,
right?
And it's still awesome, but like. He also said that there has to be like a certain formula or something like that to be a kung fu movie. So whatever.
Yeah. Huh.
All I care about is that this movie fucking rocks.
Yeah. Do you want to set up the plot of this film if no one's seen it or Judge Dredd?
So 30 cops, raid a apartment, a tenement building, to get the bad guy who lives on the top floor, and he's like this major drug kingpin. And then things go horribly wrong, and they all get trapped in there as they are systematically picked off by the entire building full of criminals.
It's not like the other tenants are unaware of this guy on the top floor. Like, he basically like places people there that work for him, or like
right. Or are just criminals.
Yeah.
Psychotic.
Right. Yeah. Although, like, there's a character introduced early in the film when the police first show up.
Right.
And he seems like a pretty swell guy.
Right.
He's just kind of taking care of his sick wife, and it's like, how did that guy end up in there, or what did he used to do that he doesn't do now?
Could be he's just jobless or whatever, and I'm assuming the rent there is cheap. Maybe he knows a guy who's not so reputable who just sort of hooked him up.
Well, I was thinking too, because I've lived in a lot of apartments around town, and I know I've been frustrated every time I call. I'm like, oh, this place is great. Oh, yeah, it's perfect. The rent's great. I mean, it's not too far from my work. What? Oh, you don't allow pets. And then, like, my standards would lower and lower, and I'm wondering, maybe that guy's got a couple of cats? And, like, that's just the only place that would take him. They're like, yes, anyone with, drug habits or, like, murder raps or kitty cats can stay here.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
It is, yeah. So the entire building's not full of criminals, but most of the people.
I would wager 95% based on the amount of people running from their rooms to kill the police.
Right. And some kids we see.
Yeah.
Which sort of where all the fuck ups start happening, because something horrible is going to happen
As soon as you see a kid trapped in a drug lord's drug lord tenement building.
So they get caught inside the building. The drug lord goes on the intercom and tells every single person in the building that there are cops there, and that if you can kill them, you get to live there rent free.
Yeah. Not just for the rest of the month, but like
for the rest of your life. Yeah. And he's got two henchmen, Andy and Mad Dog. Mad Dog is, of course, the little guy, and Andy is
the Indonesian Kurt Hammett that we spoke of earlier.
And Andy is sort of the businessman of the team, who the strategist, I guess.
A little more laid back.
Yeah.
But he can still hold his own.
Yeah. And so basically, the entire squad of cops pretty much gets wiped out, except for like 5 guys, maybe. I think it does wind up being like 5 guys that survive. The 5 guys with names.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the ones.
Rama is the main character who we mostly follow through the story. He is sort of saddled with a guy named Bowo, something like that.
B-O-W-O.
Yeah. Who sort of gets taken out of the picture, but like he survives. Like he gets shot in the side, ear, something.
I think he had an antifreeze leak, because at one point I thought there was green liquid spewing out of him.
There was. That's called bile.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. And they have to, I'm not going to spoil that, but, so he sort of gets taken out and taken care of by the nice guy who lives in the apartment building that we spoke of.
The guy with the cats.
Yeah.
That you don't see. Maybe that's why he had this secret room.
For the cats.
For his cat. Yeah. No, because, if they knew he had cats when they let him in. See, this movie doesn't make any sense anymore. Plot hole.
I'm going to say this. There are plot holes.
Yeah?
Yeah. And, like, my 3rd time watching this, I definitely were spotting them more.
Ooh, I'd like to hear one, because I didn't really notice that.
I don't know how much of plot holes these are, but, it's like, there's a fight scene that happens where Rama tackles a guy and rushes him out of a window, and they both fall.
Oh, yeah.
Like 5 stories down.
Yeah.
And as soon as they land on the fire escape, like, the snipers from across the street start shooting at them. And he, jumps into the window of the apartment that they've landed at. Why didn't the snipers just keep shooting?
I wondered that, but I thought maybe, because you don't see the snipers, but I remember thinking that too, maybe they were, like, poking their heads out of the apartment above the fire escape, and they were shooting down. Maybe
Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, I thought that too. I was like, that's how I wrote it off. I was like, oh, they must have been above them or something. I don't know.
Right. Well, whatever. Like plot holes or not, like it definitely didn't, detract from my enjoyment.
Exactly. Yeah, this isn't one of those like. But wait a minute. But I mean, actually, they did have a lot of thought went into, like, I'm sure that comes back to the choreographing of the fight scenes. But there's a lot of, like, you know how you'll see a movie, like, I actually noticed this the other day. Wow, I'm on my third digression in the same sentence. When I was watching Walking Dead the other day, it was the episode in season 2 where, spoiler, they open the barn and let the zombies out.
Okay.
And you can see when people are running up, like, they keep, like, cutting from different angles, and, like, people are in different spots a little bit,
Right.
Like, it's not like they switch spots, but, one will be a lot further back than they were a second ago. But I didn't notice anything like this in this movie, and in fact, like, I noticed just the opposite. It seemed like whenever they would switch camera angles, and, you would, see people thrashing people around in half circles and spinning, and,
Right.
like, it looked like everything was, like, perfectly positioned where, exactly where they should be. So, like, it just seemed like everything was, like, flowing together so nicely as far as, just, I don't, what I'm saying, like, the choreography. Like the subtle things that sometimes take away from a fight scene like that, where there are a lot of cuts and like there's a lot of work that went into it, but they can't really position everything perfectly. But this looked like everything was positioned perfectly.
I'm imagining that there was a lot of rehearsal that went into it.
Yeah.
But I totally get what you're saying. Like, just the way everything flows together, and like, every kick and fist that connects,
right.
And every counter and everything.
Everybody, like, nobody seems to just kind of appear out of nowhere. I mean, like, you always see them come in, or like in the cut before, and it's just perfect.
I think on that point, we should also mention that this, because we've talked about this a lot before, where like just it seems like modern day action movies, like you can never tell what the hell is going on.
Right.
You can see everything. That
Oh my
happens
gosh, yes.
And it's great.
There's so much great camera work during the fight scenes too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the camera is so close and like horrible, like most action movies today. It's like pulled back and you can see everything, but there's all kinds of cool camera movements too. That goes along with the action.
Yeah, it works with it, not against it.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, you can, like, there were one or two points where I noticed, like, it's like, man, I think that guy really got hurt there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, like, there was a scene where a guy, like, jumps and he kind of, like, lands with his head into a filing cabinet or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of them. I was like, and, like, you kind of see him, like, kind of roll over and, like, grimace, and you're like, that was real.
Yeah. That is, I think, the exact one that I was thinking of when I said that. Because, like, he hits the filing cabinet, and, like, he falls down, the filing cabinet gets knocked over.
Yeah.
And then, like, just before they cut to the next, fight scene, like, you can see the guy, like, grab his back.
Yeah. It's like, wow. I hope that guy got a little extra money, or I sent him home early that day, at least.
So, like, I don't want to spoil this movie for anyone who hasn't seen it. But seriously, if you've been listening to me for the past 6 months, you should have already seen this already.
Yeah.
Because there is a twist of sort that happens.
Right.
I don't want to give that away.
You mean where at the end the cop wakes up and realizes it's all a dream?
Yeah.
Oh,
Fuck.
Oh, I just let it out of the bag. He's like, honey, I just had the craziest dream. So what do you think of the old cop? The one that leads them to the mission? Yeah.
Wayhue.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's, well, this is no real spoiler because this gets, revealed pretty early on. He's a scumbag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also a criminal. He's leading the charge. Pretty much the only reason that they're there is because he's there to sort of kill his competition and see some sort of monetary gain from it.
Right.
Which is not good.
Did you get the feeling from this? I mean, like from a story standpoint, that he was supposed to have once been a really good cop, and like that turned bad, or has he just like always been a scumbag? Because I couldn't really tell.
I couldn't really tell, but I'm gonna guess that he was probably just. I'm sure every cop when they starts out wanting to be good.
Yeah.
But obviously he didn't stay that way.
He didn't.
I will say this, and this was just me because I've seen it already. The other guy who was sort of in charge, Jaka,
the second in command.
Like at the beginning, it almost seems like he is sort of in on it a little bit,
right? Because like they kind of have that brief little
conversation with each other, right? But then, like when everything starts panning out the way it does, like it totally, he's. Completely unaware that...
Clearly not in on it, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, I think I know the scene you're talking about. When they first arrive, they sort of hang back, and the lieutenant's like, I don't want these kids getting in my way. And,
right.
And they have, like, a brief exchange, but, like, nothing is really said, like, it just kind of gave you the feeling, like, hey, is that guy up to no good? Yeah.
Right. But of course, for first timer saying that, you also don't know that the lieutenant's bad either. So,
right. I mean, honestly, I had no idea, but that little exchange made me wonder about both of those guys.
Right.
And I was like, are those guys up to no good?
Right.
And then it turns out one of them a little sort of up to no good.
Right. I think a little sort of, yeah. But yeah, so that guy, Jaka, he gets our first fight scene with Mad Dog, which is fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everything kind of calms down for a second.
Oh, yeah.
And Mad Dog, like, he's...
Well, when you say calm down, it's also super fucking tense.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Because they both, Jaka has a knife at him, and Mad Dog has a gun on him. And they're both just in a deadlock. And then, Mad Dog guides him into one of the apartments, and, everything just sort of not relaxes, but,
The pace lessens or something.
Yeah.
But that scene was weird because every time I see a standoff like that, I'm like, well, the guy with the gun wins.
Well, yeah.
I'm just pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Like, unless the other guys, got superhuman speed.
Right.
I never understood that knife gun standoff. But at least in this one. Yeah, in this one it makes sense because Mad Dog's a little bit better than a gun guy.
Yeah. He is above that shit.
He equates guns to buying takeout food.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing using your hands is like cooking a home-cooked meal.
Yeah, I think so. I kind of wish he would have finished that.
Yeah, analogy. I know. I was like, that's the closure I needed.
That is why this is not your favorite movie.
I wanted to see the kitty cats, and I wanted to hear that fighting with your hands is like cooking a home-cooked meal. Maybe in the American version when it comes out. Is there kitty cats in Judge Dredd?
I can't remember.
I haven't seen Judge Dredd yet, but from what you've told me, it's
the exact same plot, pretty much, but worse.
Yeah, less action and
less action. It's kind of I don't know.
So, would you say to people if they saw Judge Dredd and didn't really like it, but thought it had potential, that The Raid is the movie for them?
Yeah, totally, 100%.
Yeah.
Even if they saw Judge Dredd and just hated it and didn't think it had any potential, I would still just totally recommend The Raid.
So you could see what a movie could have been.
Right, yeah. I just recommend The Raid to everybody.
You're like, random man on the street.
Hey, have you seen The Raid?
Yeah. Hey, kid. Yeah, story-wise, I don't know if we can really talk about much more, because there's not a lot of story, and what there is, like you said, half of it's like a twist that you don't want to really give away. But visually and like just the intensity of it. Wow, it's incredible.
Yeah. Like even now, like third time seeing it, just certain things that like just got me. Like when I first saw it, like and I'm talking about like just entirely like in the fight scenes.
Yeah.
Just like when you see some guy get grabbed by the balls and then slammed into a wall face first.
And
it's just.
And then, like, there's a red splotch on the wall after he falls.
And it's just like, oh, fuck.
And it's one take. It's not like, cut. It's like,
It's all one smooth action.
Yeah. Or like a guy, because they have sort of a, what do you call that? It's not a courtyard, but where the rooms are all, like, kind of spiraling down an open center, like you see in some hotels. Yeah. So you can, like, look over a balcony on every floor down to the lobby.
Right.
And there's scenes where, like, a guy is thrown over that, and the camera just follows him as he's thrown, and he lands like on the banister, like 2 stories down, and you just watch it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh wow, how does that? How did they film that? They're like, man, we killed another guy. That's 4 today. Next,
You gotta make sure we get this one right.
Yeah. At least land on the banister before you die. But that whole that scene and a lot of other things like that reminded me of the only time I've ever seen anything that equates to that is like when I was kids and I was one kid. I was playing with my G.I. Joes and you would have Snake Eyes like kick Firefly and you hold him as he falls and you're like and then he lands on something and everything lands perfectly and it reminded me of a really horrific G.I. Joe play date.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, this, my love of this and the intensity that I felt watching it, just did not lessen at all this time around at all.
Was that what it made you love it so much? Was mostly just how intense and like the craziness of the fighting?
Pretty much, yeah.
Maybe you should watch more kung fu movies.
Maybe I should. I don't know. But will any of them really compare at this point? I've seen the greatest.
Right. Maybe our friend Jeremy Anderson or anyone else listening could recommend some really good, crazy action movies.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of really good ones that I've enjoyed. God, what the hell was it that I watched? It was it wasn't Ong Bak, but it was by the guys that did that one. Tony Jaa, Thailand, Taiwanese, whatever.
Taiwanese.
Not Taiwanese, whatever they call people from Thailand.
Oh, Thai people.
Thai people, that's it.
Just ties.
Just ties.
They're ties.
I'm a fucking idiot. But yeah, he did a movie about I think it was called The Protector, actually. He did a movie about protecting an elephant. And I believe it was called The Protector. But there's a scene that is all, it's all one shot, one camera shot of this guy, just fighting a ton of people in a stairwell, and just following him up, the entire staircase to the top floor
with no cuts.
No cuts, and it's amazing. But the rest of the movie. All the action scenes were good, but then the movie itself was just sort of...
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. They didn't try to be too ambitious with the plot in this movie.
Right.
But there was enough plot that it wasn't just okay, I'm just watching people fight.
Right.
It was, enough that sold it all.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what does it, is that, I was interested in, like what you said, there's not a ton of story there, but what is there, I'm interested in.
Right. It's not like they were working against each other, let's be story-driven, let's be fight-driven. It was 90% or 80% fighting and 20% story or something.
Yeah. And, a movie like this, not this one, but, a movie like it would have the tendency to try to, throw in some sort of random love interest in it.
Yeah.
And, just all the sort of formulaic bullshit that you get with an action movie is just, it's not in this.
Yeah, I wonder how feminists regard this movie. I'd be curious. I don't consider my girlfriend a feminist, but
I would think well, let's just also say this: your girlfriend would fucking love this.
She would fucking love this movie, and she loves action movies. Like that's one of her favorite genres of film, especially like crazy orchestrated fight scenes.
Right.
But I mean, as a woman, she does like occasionally get offended by the roles that women are given.
Right.
And there's only like 2 or 3 women in this movie, and one of them is like bedridden with
some sort of mystery illness.
One's bedridden with pregnancy, so she has to rest.
Yeah,
and
I think that's it.
I think there was a woman wasn't there a woman like shooting up heroin or something?
In bed.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, there's not really much like positive female role models unless you consider, just laying around with a baby inside of you being positive.
Right, yeah.
But she's just adding to the population problem, so she's probably doing worse than the other 2. So yeah, I mean, I wonder how, I'd be curious to how, she would react to this movie.
Right. Well, yeah, I think she would probably just ignore those and
Right.
just go with it.
That seems like the case.
I watched it with when I did watch it the second time after I bought it. I watched it with Amanda, and I think she really enjoyed it. And she actually made like audible during
Right.
some of the worst things that would happen in the movie.
There's a lot of like neck damage.
Oh yeah, neck and spinal damage. Yeah,
a lot of things spewing from the neck area.
yeah. A lot of knees get taken out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun. I'm just glad that there weren't any I think the thing that would have gotten me like too much to actually enjoy it would have been like fingernail or eyeball damage.
Oh yeah.
I just can't handle that kind of thing.
Yeah. There's a line that
Yeah.
you just don't cross.
Face first into a concrete barrier. I'm fine with that, but getting a splinter through the eye, I'm done.
And there was a lot of gun to the head action in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like using someone's head as a flash suppressor. That happened like 5 times.
Yeah. So you enjoyed it?
I did not like this movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Yeah, I mean, that's some of the best action I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah. I know that there is an American remake coming.
Of course.
I know that they offered the director Gareth Evans to do the remake.
Oh, that's cool, at least.
And he said no.
Oh, yeah.
And is instead working on the sequel.
Oh, cool.
So.
Yeah, this one was The Raid Redemption.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
The movie's name is The Raid.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it says on the actual film.
Right. But I guess there is another movie, at least in America, called The Raid. It came out in like 1954. I guess. I don't know. So that's why they had to change it slightly.
Okay.
Which doesn't make sense because I know that there are tons of movies out there that all have the same name.
Like there's like 4 Crash.
Right, yeah. So, who knows? But yeah, it is subtitled The Redemption here in America.
Well, that at least help people narrow it down when they're trying to rent it.
That's true. Yeah.
But is the sequel called The Raid something something?
Probably, yeah. And obviously I don't know what the actual Indonesian name of it is, but, yeah, it'll be The Raid. Fart Knocker. I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna see it. Fuck yeah.
I would like to as well. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, a little dark in spots, kind of made me squeamish in places as far as just like just how depraved a lot of the people that live there are. They all just seem sick and weird and like they should all have magic cards falling out of their pockets while they're fighting. but other than that, yeah, it's really good.
You want to take a break?
Sure.
The Raid Redemption. Go see it.
Well, you made me weep, and you made me moan. When you caused me to leave, child, my happy home. But someday, baby, you ain't worry my life anymore. mistreat her, that I was no good. But someday, baby, you ain't worry my life anymore. If I had money like Henry Ford, Lord, I'd have me a woman, yeah, on every road. But someday, baby, you ain't worry my life anymore.
Hey, welcome back to Gutter Trash.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Wow, so how are we going to calm down after that movie? Do you have any, like, downers?
Probably. What can I tell you about?
Oh, I was thinking actual drugs, but if you have a downer story,
No.
that would work.
Yeah, stick around long enough, I'm sure I'm going to depress you.
That's why I hang around.
No, I don't have any real depressing stuff to talk about that I'm aware of.
Did you do anything cool this week? Like office rearrangements or anything?
I have been locked out of all the offices.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you think it was you?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you at least did you go? How did
Oh,
you?
yeah. Uh-huh.
You went by and you tried the door.
Yeah.
Did you look through and see if they had moved your stuff back?
In the one office for sure, yeah, they moved around a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we still got the right wing propaganda factory across the hall from us being assholes. My boss has actually been out most of the week with some sort of mystery illness, so nothing really exciting at work. I got my computer back.
I see.
Yeah, and it's
Looks different.
it is, yeah, it's barely my computer. It is built from the ground up, really.
So it's like RoboCop.
Sort of, yeah. It is. Yeah. The only part of it that was in the original machine was my hard drive, which is actually useless at this point.
It's like his memories.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to delete them and put in some prime directives. Then last night, my friend and I went to go see the new Silent Hill movie,
Oh.
and it was okay.
Just okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I didn't enjoy it as much as I liked the first one, but and I think this is a weird thing, I guess, for me to say, because sort of your stereotypical nerd person would probably never ever say this in a million years, but it was trying too hard to be too faithful to the games.
Oh, okay.
And I don't like that.
Like it backed itself into some corners or something?
No, I just I've played the games.
Yeah.
Well, let's do something new.
Yeah.
It's like the same with comic book movies and just certain things like that. It's like I don't need you to kind of faithfully adapt a particular comic book story, to make a movie, based on that character.
Right.
It's a character with a rich history. Let's see something different.
Right.
Which is kind of like why I like something like the Avengers. Because it was sort of, other than the fact that Loki sort of tricks everybody into joining the Avengers, at the same time, it wasn't, an exact adaptation
Right.
of, the Avengers story.
Right, exactly. They just took the things that you know and love and, ran with it.
Right, yeah,
Right.
yeah. And, it was like when I was watching the second season of The Walking Dead, a lot of the problems that I had with it all stemmed from the fact that, I've read these.
Right, yeah.
It's like there's no suspense for me when I know what's going to happen to a character.
Right.
And I mean, they do change some things here and there, and throw in some curveballs.
It seems like they have some characters sort of take on
Different roles
that other characters had in the books, maybe
a little bit, and I don't want to spoil it, for everyone, but there is a character who, in the second season, dies, who is, I think he was in the book for 80 issues, something like that.
Okay.
And so it was sort of oh wow, okay, I can't believe they did that. But, at the same time, there was, other characters who their stories are playing out the exact same way it does in the books. And I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
why do I want to watch this if I've already, experienced this?
Right. I guess, it's probably a fine line for something like that because they want to be faithful enough that the comic fans are still on board, but also different enough that the comic fans don't get bored and be like, oh, well, then I'll just not watch it. I already know what's going to happen.
It's but at the same time, it's and it's not just comic fans that do that either, but it's when a movie is made from a novel, it's all you see are just people complaining online about how they didn't have this character in the book, from the book, and I would say probably the biggest example of that is the Lord of the Rings movies. Everybody is, why didn't they have this happen or this character or whatever? And I've never read The Lord of the Rings,
Right.
but I saw the movies and I enjoyed them, and I don't care that certain things weren't in it.
It's not like they really needed to pad it for length either.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a 12-hour thing anyway. Yeah. But yeah, it's well, if you've read it, why would you want to see the movie anyway? Or if it's going to be super faithful, it's called an adaptation for a reason.
I think things that are adapted verbatim are maybe only successful in the minds of people with that don't really I don't want to be derogatory, like people with no imaginations, but maybe people that don't really want to use their imagination. They just want to see the exact same thing unfold that they hate.
That they already know.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's more comfortable or something. I don't know. But yeah, like, it's like when you hear a band cover a song, that you like, what's the point of listening to it unless they completely change it?
Exactly.
Or maybe not completely change it, but, make it
their own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like have a difference and a style to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like cover songs that are exactly the same as the original. I want to hear, that band's particular take on it.
Right.
Fuck. I just had something in my head and now it's just,
Ah.
I mean, it was on this topic, but,
Well, our minds come and go.
yeah.
It's the ether that we have on the breaks. Oh, you gotta have the ether.
Damn it. Oh, well, you were getting my point anyway.
Yeah, I understand. But yeah, I forget why we were talking about covers, but yeah, no.
Because Silent Hill, and yeah, I mean, it was a good movie. It was enjoyable, but I liked the first one a lot because they didn't really adhere to everything. They just sort of, they took the important elements of it, and used it in the movie, and then they had the creatures and the characters in it that were in the games, but they didn't follow the exact same plot line. Whereas this one seemed to be trying to adhere more to the game's mythology, which I don't think was necessary.
Right. I see. I might even like the second one then because I watched a majority of the first film. Like, I think it was with you and Kathleen.
You did not watch a majority of it.
I watched at least
at least half.
Yeah, I was at least a chunk of it. And I've never played the game or even witnessed anyone playing the game. So there were scenes in there where it seemed like I didn't know what was going on because I had never played the game. Because things would happen or the audience would see something, and I got the feeling that you're supposed to be like, oh shit, it's the blah blah blah. Or this is the blah 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 happening.
There is that, but I think it's also because they hadn't gotten to the exposition yet,
right?
Of certain things to explain those things. But there was a little bit of that fan service in that movie, but
right.
It really seemed like this one had a bit more to it.
That's good.
Than the first one.
Do you think maybe you didn't enjoy it as much though?
But
because
I did enjoy it.
Right.
I did like the movie. I had a good time watching it.
You think it'd been better though if you would have saw it before Halloween, because you saw it a couple days after Halloween? No, because scary movies, there's that whole month of October where just scary movies just sort of seem so much more appropriate or amped up or something.
Nope.
No.
I like horror movies.
I
know. Watch them, at noon on August.
So it's not like watching a Christmas movie in January.
No. Yeah. Which I probably would do anyway.
Right.
Because I don't care. A good movie's a good movie.
Right. No, I mean, I love horror movies, but it seems like I'm really excited about them in October.
I could give a shit about Halloween.
Really?
Honestly, like we do the Halloween specials, but it's just
a reason to watch more horror movies.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Honestly, I don't care about any holiday really. They mean nothing to me anymore.
No.
Nothing.
You don't trick or treat. I take it. Okay. Well, yeah. How did that go? Did you hide for the trick or treaters, or did you pass out candy?
I assume the trick or treat night was on Tuesday.
I think it was supposed to be, but I think it got pushed back in some places.
Well, it got pushed back in some places, but not in Kettering.
Mm-hmm.
That I read anyway. So if it happened here on Tuesday, I was not at home.
Yeah.
If it happened here Monday, I was also not at home. And then I've been here the rest of the week. So
right.
I know that it was scheduled for Tuesday in Beaver Creek, where I was actually, but it got pushed back to Saturday due to the Franken storm.
Yeah. Yeah, I was I mean, I was at work from like 6 p.m. till, like 11:30 Tuesday night.
Right.
So I didn't see a single trick-or-treater this year, which is weird. Like, usually I see, a couple roaming around or whatever, but...
Yeah. I think we actually talked about this. Our friend Joe, he said that trick-or-treat night was on Tuesday in his neighborhood.
Yeah.
He did not get any.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because of that creepy, dark, dead end he lives on.
That's not the excuse he gave, but I'm pretty sure that's why.
What did he say it was?
He just said there's not a lot of kids that live in that neighborhood.
Yeah. It's probably because they all get abducted on his dead-end drive. I'm not saying it's by him, but I'm not saying it's not by him.
Yeah.
I miss Joe G. Was he there Tuesday night? I don't think he was there Tuesday night. Or maybe he was. I don't know. I can't remember. But he wasn't there Saturday. I usually see him on Saturdays. And then I no longer, as of now, work on Tuesday nights.
It's still upsetting to me.
That was my shift with Joe G.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might just see him once a week when he pops in on Saturdays.
Yeah. I can't believe you let Jack do that to you.
Hey, it's okay.
Because, that's... Like if I was in your position, I would be upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would absolutely be upset.
I see. If it was like he moved me to Tuesday mornings instead of Tuesday nights, I'd be upset. But now I have the entire day of Tuesday off, which is awesome because I have no obligations on Tuesday. So it can be my just relax and creativity day. But I did trade an after hour.
What obligations do you have on Sundays?
Well, I mean,
other than doing the show.
Doing the show, and I always go to Kathleen's for lunch, and both of those things. Well, that's what I'm saying. They're not obligations, but that's something I always do on Sunday. Whereas on Tuesday now, I have nothing to do from the time I open my eyes until the time I close them at night, and that's awesome. So I'll probably just use it as a drawing day. Maybe a occasional dinner day or occasional gutter trash day, but I'm just going to keep it open and see what happens.
We should do bowling night again.
All right. No, I'm not going to commit to anything as a regular Tuesday event. I'm going to keep Tuesday open.
Well, then we should at least go bowling at one point.
Oh yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
But the only bad thing is it was a day of after hours work that I've traded for a morning where I'm the magic guy. That's the reason that I was put on there, because we needed a magic guy.
And that's why, if I was in your position, I would hate that shit.
Yeah. But I also have helped implement the plan that we've codenamed "Get Brassfield Out of the Store," and he no longer works. I've muscled him out, so that's worth it.
All right. So is he not allowed in the store at all anymore?
I'm sure he'll still come in.
I know he still has 17 files in strategic places throughout the store.
I think he's hollowed out the walls and filled them with DVDs that he means to purchase. No, but yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Yeah.
So the only other cool thing that has happened was that last night you and I watched a movie.
Yeah, we did. Sort of.
Yeah, it was movie length.
Usually, today, there was 7 trailers before the raid, and you skip through each one because usually we don't really watch the trailers.
I like trailers. Okay, let me put it this way, because this is going to go against, because what I just said goes against sort of my belief system.
Uh-oh.
I don't watch trailers for any movies, unless I am actually having a disc in front of me, where they're just in front of the movie, or when I go to the theater to see a movie.
So, you don't, seek them out.
I don't seek them out. The Iron Man trailer just came out, a week ago. I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
At all. Because, A, I already know I'm going to see it. And B, it's not coming out for, another year.
Right.
Why the fuck do I want to watch a trailer now?
Right.
And, it just gets to the point where, and that's going to be the first of, 30 trailers for that movie.
Yeah.
And...
So you'll see half an hour of the film before it's over.
And like the same thing happened with like Prometheus. Like it seemed like every week there was a trailer coming out for that movie, and I was just like, "Fuck!" I don't want to see any of it.
Yeah.
I just want to go and watch the movie and be left alone.
I'm with you on that. Like, once I know I want to see a movie, I'm done watching the trailers for it. But if it's something I never heard of, like Cloud Atlas and Argo, I watched the trailers for online because I was like, "Oh, it sounds neat," but I don't know if I want to see it or not.
Right.
And then I watched the trailer and I was like, "Okay, cool."
I did watch the trailer for Cloud Atlas, and that made me not want to see the movie.
Right?
Yeah. I did not watch the trailer for Argo because I just knew I wanted to see it.
No.
And I haven't yet, but I'll catch it on DVD probably. I still haven't even seen The Town, so.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah. Future pick?
Maybe. But yeah, so we watched a movie last night that it was an hour and a half of trailers.
Yeah.
It was called Mad Ron's Previews from Hell. And it is available on Netflix streaming, and I can't recommend it enough.
It's pretty freaking amazing.
It's great. Yeah, if you're ever just looking for something on Netflix to have as background fodder while you're like working on something or just need to have some noise, and you like horror movies and exploitation, and like, just bad movies in general, this is a fucking great thing to watch.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, and like, it was probably, an hour and a half, you think?
Oh yeah.
And I'd only heard of, I think, 3 of the movies. I'd only seen like 3 of those movies before.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of like obscure, weird stuff.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe 4, I've heard of 4. I forgot about Ilsa.
Yeah.
How can you forget about Ilsa?
Yeah, it's just all trailers from like, just cheesy exploitation movies and horror movies.
Like Grindhouse era
Grindhouse stuff, and like even like a couple of porn movies that they had in there.
Yeah, the world's first 3D porn. And apparently that didn't go over so well because you would have heard more about 3D porn.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a thing somewhere still.
Yeah. And it was done like sort of like our friend Matt Brassfield's TV show where like there's like a chunk of trailers and then it cuts to like the guy that's hosting it, like a little cheesy like handheld video homemade like introduction and segue kind of thing.
It's a ventriloquist and his zombie puppet.
And it was pretty enjoyable.
It was super fun. A couple of trailers just laughed our asses off. And, but like I mentioned, like, when we were watching it, it was like, could you imagine, like, modern day trailers being done in, like, that style? Where, like, the title of the movie is just repeated over and over again.
Right.
Or just, like, there's an omniscient narrator basically describing the entire movie in detail.
Right. And, like, sometimes in a monotone.
Oh, yeah.
Like, see Tom Hanks live many lives in Cloud Atlas. Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, it was so, like, I had seen the movie, the Grindhouse Rodriguez Tarantino thing.
Right, yeah.
And my favorite trailer of all those was Don't, because I thought it was just hilarious.
Right.
But I had never really seen trailers like that, so it wasn't like, I was like, oh yeah, Don't is awesome because it's a parody of this and that. I had never really, and I had no reference for that, but a lot of these movies looked exactly like Don't.
Yeah, because even afterwards, because you mentioned it, and my friend Amanda was here too, and even though she and I went to see Grindhouse in the theaters, like, she didn't remember that one at all.
Right.
So like, as soon as that movie was over, I went to YouTube and brought up the Don't trailer.
Right.
And just it was like,
fit perfectly.
it was exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you liked that, check out Ron, was it?
Mad Ron's Previews from Hell.
Yeah. That was amazing. And it was cool to see a trailer for Night of the Living Dead. I'd never seen it.
Yeah.
And it was weird too because it was like, right in the middle of all those other movies. And it like, I could see, can you imagine how easily that movie could have just been lost in all that schlock?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because the trailer just didn't really look much better than the other movies. I mean, like, it had some cooler, like, shadowy, like the characters were in, like, cast in like these cool shadows during the film, as you probably well know. But But I mean,
Yeah, the trailer was exactly the same. It had that, will these people survive the night of the living
right?
dead?
Yeah,
That kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, man, that a gem could have. I'm sure gems have been lost over the years. That,
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't mean stuff that's cult classics that the majority of people are unhip to. I just mean like they're lost.
Right,
You know?
And like I said this, and while we were watching it, was like, man, I want to watch every single one of these movies now.
Especially the 3D titties.
Oh, yeah. What was it, Wildcat
I
Women?
can't even remember
I
what
think it was Wildcat Women.
Yeah.
But then, like, as you pointed out, that we probably were watching the best scenes in those movies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like probably only enjoyable because we watched a minute and a half of it.
Right.
You know? But what was the one with like the guy that looked like the Flash? There was like a Mexican wrestler that was dressed like, or no, Daredevil. He looked like Daredevil. That's what.
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh man, I can't remember. Oh, Night of the Bloody Apes.
Like, who wants to walk into a crowd of bloody apes, especially at night? That's a scary film, I'd imagine. Yeah, that was great. Very enjoyable.
And as of today, I still have not heard back from Matt Brassfield.
About horror on Snape Island.
Horror on Snape Island. We were trying to figure out. We had just assumed that Matt Brassfield had seen every single one of those movies that was in that. So I just sent him a text asking him what his favorite part of the horror of Snape Island was.
And yeah, no response.
No response yet.
It's disappointing.
Yeah, it is.
Oh man.
So check that out if you have Netflix. It is streaming and it is awesome.
It was very enjoyable.
Like I immediately wanted to watch like another one of those like as soon as it was done.
Yeah, sometimes an hour and a half is just not enough.
No, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was just like I could probably watch just all of those trailers just back to back, because they were just so bizarre.
Like I could watch it a second time.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that. Wow, we could review that sometime. No.
We just kind of did.
Yeah, that's true. Damn it, we're overachievers.
Yeah, we are.
I did watch one other movie this week, and I gotta say, it did put the raid to shame as far as action goes. I watched Under Siege. No, yeah, thinking back to that, because I was watching it, me and Doogie watched it, and I was like, this is fun, it's a fun, good action movie. But, I mean, yeah, when you see something like The Raid, and you've seen very recently a Steven Seagal movie, you realize just how geriatric he looks, even when basically all he does is push people around.
Yeah.
That's really all he does. He's got two moves. He can push you, like as you charge at him, he kind of sidesteps and pushes you, or he can break your wrist.
Yeah.
And that's his two moves. I mean, okay, Under Siege did have had one more topless woman and one more Gary Busey than The Raid.
Right.
Which, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. That's pretty close to trumping The Raid.
Like, yeah, can you imagine if there was just one scene where Gary Busey pokes his head out into the hall, like, and looks for the cops, and then just sneaks, and closes the door? 100 times better.
Right, yeah.
Maybe they could just, like, insert that into the DVD somewhere. And maybe you see a pair of breasts behind Gary Busey in the apartment.
Two in one.
Yeah.
I think that would put it to the point where they just shouldn't make movies anymore after that. 'Cause The Raid had accomplished everything.
Yeah. That's all you need. Oh, man.
Yeah. I haven't, I'm still working my way through Cheers.
Walking Dead and then Cheers. Huh?
Yeah. We didn't really talk about it last night, but I forced a new show upon you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What'd you think?
Like, I thought it was entertaining, but it didn't hook me yet. Like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't mind watching another episode, but if we never did, it wouldn't bother me either.
We're gonna watch another episode.
Yeah. It was called Terriers?
Yeah.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah. 'Cause when I first watched it, the first episode, I liked it, a lot. yeah, it wasn't anything that was hooking me. But about the fourth episode in, I was just like, okay, I am in for the long haul. And then it got canceled.
Oh, it sucks. There's two things about it. There was one thing on the positive side is it had kind of an oddness to it, like where like just certain scenes, like just, you know, they didn't seem like generic and like, you know, falling into these like, you know, categories that you always see, I think, where characters are behaving a certain way in certain situations. They just had like an oddness, like not quite a Coen Brothers oddness, but like
a quirkiness.
Yeah, like a kind of a quirky, I don't know. But at the same time, there was like a few scenes where some of the dialogue just seemed like they like it wasn't written, like the actors were just like, you know, they're just say something, you know, along these lines and go. And like maybe they didn't get the best take, but they put it in anyway or something. Like I kind of felt like that. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, like it was odd and enjoyable.
Yeah. I will force you to watch the rest of the show because there was only 13 episodes and you can put up with that.
Yeah, sure.
But it does get a lot better.
Okay.
I think what I like the best of it is the chemistry between the two lead characters. It's Donald Logue, who has been in like a ton of things.
Comic book villains,
yeah. Usually the best thing in certain movies.
Yeah.
And then I believe his name is Michael Raymond James, who is sort of becoming that guy.
Yeah. Like even, as soon as I saw him, I was like, hey, that guy looks familiar.
Yeah. He was in like one of the last couple episodes of The Walking Dead Season 2. He was a major character in the first season of True Blood. But I had seen Terriers before I'd ever seen that. And I really like him on this show, and I've seen him like just sort of pop up here and there in places, but I think he's really awesome.
Yeah.
And I think like the way those two characters work against each other is pretty great, and is like, you know, the main reason why I love that show so much.
Yeah, their chemistry was part of the quirkiness, I think. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll force you to watch more of it.
Some quirky detective show. Yeah, not too bad. And what channel is it on, or was it on? I mean,
it was, I believe, on FX.
Yeah, okay. I had never even heard of it until last night.
Yeah.
I did do something fun that was completely unexpected on Friday. After we left the Mexican restaurant, Kathleen and I were trying to decide what to do, and because she's been doing the scavenger hunt, and she still had like 2 days left to do it. I was like, do you need to work on your scavenger hunt tonight? She's like, I don't know if I feel like it. She's like, do you want to go to Walmart and look around? And I was like, I don't mind going to Walmart, but I don't really want to go to Walmart. And then like all of a sudden I remembered, earlier in the day, one of my friends was in Mavericks, who's in a band, and he's like, our band's playing tonight at Canal Street if you get bored. And, I was like, well, my friend Roger's band's playing at Canal Street. And she was like, oh, who is it? And I was like, My Latex Brain. And she was like, oh, let's go. So we went and saw My Latex Brain at Canal Street. I'd never seen them before. I mean, we've had their music on the show like a couple of years ago. And honestly, like, you know, I thought the CDs were alright. You know, I dug them, and like my friend Roger was in it, so like I like it a little bit more even probably because he's in it. But live, they are like 100 times better than their CD. I mean, they are crazy. Like, first of all, I never even noticed from the CD, they don't even have a guitar player. They have a bass player who is a fucking madman on the bass. Like, he plays this fretless bass, and like whenever I see that, I'm usually like, oh, douchebag, you know. but this guy knew how to make it not look like he was a douchebag. He was just some dude. I mean, he didn't look like a rock star. He was just kind of like a chubby, beardy guy with glasses, and he destroyed that thing. And then my friend Roger's a great drummer, and the singer, which I can honestly tell you, like on the CDs, that was the thing that maybe I didn't really like that much, was the vocals. But seeing him live, he just had such a awesome presence, and it wasn't like a showy thing. He was just like, he has this weird voice, first of all, and then he like does all these. He has all these effects and samples on this little machine that I don't know what kind of machine it is, some sort of sampler, and he's kind of
Casio.
Yeah. He's turning knobs on this Casio the whole time, and like, yeah, I mean, it was just really fun, and like everybody, like, there's just 3 of them, and they were all so animated, and like any one of them that you kind of focused on for a couple minutes and watched, they were like really into it, and there was only like a dozen people at the bar, so it wasn't like they were like, it wasn't crowded, and it wasn't like they were, you know, showing off for a big crowd. I mean, it was just a great show.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It seems like quite a trek, though, to go from Xenia to downtown Dayton to see a band.
Yeah. I'd been wanting to see him for a while, and she used to be friends with the bass player. So like she talked to him for a while, and she'd seen him play once, but it was like 10 years ago, because apparently they've been together for 13 years now, which is crazy. But, yeah. My Latex Brain, check them out, especially live.
Yeah. If you're ever in Dayton.
Yeah. I think occasionally they play outside Dayton, but I know Roger and Chris, the bass player that she knows, they both have day jobs that keep them kind of locked in. Like the Chris guy, he works at Second Time Round, and he's always in there whenever I go in. I had no idea he was in the band until we like walked into the bar, and I was like, well, what's the Second Time Round guy doing on the stage? Is he a sound man or something? That's cool. And then they're like, what's he doing playing the bass before the band starts? What's he doing playing the bass during the band set? But yeah, it turns out he's in the band. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, that's been my wad this week.
Yeah. All right. Well, I suppose we should wrap this up then.
Yeah.
And you should tell me what I'm going to be reading for the next week.
Well, I know you're a huge Liefeld fan.
Vito.
His name is on these comics on the inside, but he had nothing to do with them. Prophet. Remission, I think it's called. The trade paperback, I believe, is called Remission. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, the new Prophet series from Image Comics. Brendan Graham and Simon Roy and 12 other guys.
Yeah. All right, I won't veto it. It's mostly because I have bought all those.
Yeah. You got to read them eventually.
Exactly. This will give me a good excuse too. So yeah, I'm down.
Sweet. I've been looking forward to these.
As have I. I think I read the first one when it came out, and I just haven't sort of fell behind on everything that I read.
I actually read the first 3 already, and then I lost the 4th one.
Oh, well.
And then I was like determined to find it, so I never bought another copy of it.
Right.
And I kept buying the subsequent issues, and I just found like a week ago. I found the one I'd lost, and I'm like, okay, I've got the whole run.
Lost the rest.
Yeah, I lost the rest of it. Yeah, it was in that batch of the stuff when I lost Underwater Welder.
Right. Yeah.
And now like they're all like slowly coming back into my collection. And like I have no idea what's going on there.
That's weird.
But yeah, but I found it, so I've got them all now.
Profit something trade paperback.
Redemption. Prophet Redemption.
All right. Sounds good.
Sweet.
See you next week.
All right.
Goodbye. Thank you for listening to Gutter Trash. You can subscribe to the show from guttertrash.net or from iTunes and leave us a review. Visit guttertrash.net for email information, links to our Facebook and Twitter pages, and for other podcasts and websites in the Gutter Trash Network. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.